There's something that goes unspoken in Janet Planet that I resonated with almost immediately. Those moments during adolescence where you don't entirely possess the vocabulary needed to articulate your whirlwind of feelings, and Annie Baker's first foray into feature filmmaking is so attuned to those points in the coming-of-age experience. The sometimes still, solitary nature of growing up, where we carefully observe the adults around us trying to perceive and penetrate their sadness, pains, longings, but lacking the ability to describe those various observations. Baker, an acclaimed playwright, deviates heavily from the theatrical to take full advantage of the cinematic form, telling a coming-of-age fable that distills raw meaning from beyond language, from the subjective and sensory. In turn, this isn't the mother-daughter film akin to something like Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. It's something more hushed and closely observed, with remarkable detail and sensitivity. The year is 1991, and we rest in the perspective of an 11-year-old girl, Lacy, during the summer between her transition from 5th to 6th grade. She's the only child of single mother Janet, played by the always tremendous Julianne Nicholson. Lacy is a lonely, introverted kid that is always watching and listening to the grown-ups she is surrounded by. She doesn't have many, or really any, friends of her age, and acts mostly as a quiet observer, until she interjects with the occasional darkly humorous or brutally honest comment, such as in the film's opening scene, where Lacy demands to be taken home from summer camp and threatens to kill herself if the request is not fulfilled. This is a pretty resounding introduction to the kind of child Lacy is, a quirky little girl who resides just outside the world of adulthood, but tries hard to pierce that bubble and get a look into the life of the restless, nurturing soul that is her mother. Janet, who we almost always see through the eyes of Lacy, is very elusive. She runs an acupuncture clinic, the name of which lends the film its title, and is a mother who is almost always at a bit of a remove. She doesn't address her child in the typical motherly, affectionate way, and is perpetually searching for fulfillment or enlightenment in the wrong places, namely in damaged men who she is almost always having to take care of. We gradually learn bits and pieces about Janet over the course of the film, coming to understand her past regrets, her difficult relationship with her Holocaust survivor father, and her tendency to nurture crappy men over her actual child. Baker allows us insight into this atypical maternal figure through clever modes of exposition, like hallucinogen-induced rants, or by way of Lacy, watching through her youthful eyes at her mother's face and actions. Title cards segment the film into its 3 acts, each card announcing the arrival and departure of a friend or lover that we watch enter and exit Janet's orbit. First we have Wayne, played by ace character actor Will Patton, a quietly harsh boyfriend with a child from a past relationship. Next is Regina, a long-lost friend who briefly lives with Janet and Lacy after their unexpected reunion. And lastly, Elias Koteas' Avi, a charming spiritual guru that leads a cultish commune/theater company that draws Janet in. These figures move in and out of Janet's orbit, but exist as peripheral figures in Lacy's life. Individuals that leave in their wake some kind of meaningful impact on her that she might not fully grasp in her youth, but will eventually be felt. Lacy, however, remains the one constant in Janet's orbit, a mother-daughter pair that enjoy one another's company, brushing hair, learning the piano, watching TV, until someone comes along and intrudes on their pleasant existence. The chemistry between Nicholson and newcomer Zoe Ziegler shines, with such an organic dynamic between the two, where they can render a real relationship, one that carefully toes the line between close and sometimes unhealthy intimacy. This delightful chemistry between the two leads affords many sneakily poignant moments, where so much affection can be rendered through Lacy simply tracing her mother's movements with her soulful eyes. There's one scene in particular in which Lacy plays some music on a lap piano for her mother. When she finishes, she looks up at Janet and gives her this look that tore my heart wide open. Janet Planet is filled with so many of those quiet, stirring moments that never try to draw too much attention to themselves. Annie Baker makes the transition from playwright to feature filmmaker look effortless here. Her work is remarkably assured, rife with a formal precision even career filmmakers are incapable of pulling off. I think so often when creatives from the world of theater transition into cinema, their works are often talky, with a lack of consideration for formal technique. But Baker takes full advantage of the cinematic form, doing things with editing and framing that could only be done in film. Her treatment of space, in and outside of the frame, and temporality in particular are superb. Stunning exterior landscape shots, meshed with lived-in interior tableaus, brought to life with natural lighting and naturalistic mise-en-scene, with a surreal tranquility to the rhythms of the edit. There's a sparse use of close-ups that make every cut to a striking face feel so earned, the key to unlocking this pair of oblique performances. The film is also full of pauses and long silences, where dialogue is given the space to slowly resonate and expand, and where characters are afforded the time to be fully immersed in their environments and everyday actions. There are lengthy scenes of walking alongside trails with only the sound of gravel crunching beneath feet, of a young girl observing and not even playing with a collection of porcelain and wooden dolls, of a microwave just rotating and humming along. Every line of dialogue, every potent moment of silence or ambient sound accumulates to express a wave of feeling through the subtlest of gestures. Janet Planet is a truly one-of-a-kind coming-of-age film, one with a refreshing lack of sentimentality and a milieu you can really rest into, touch, and feel. What I really haven't seen many other films about adolescence reckon with is that feeling of being completely alone in the orbit of the adults around you. Your small, curious eye is unprepared when you reach the point that you look at your parents and begin to see and absorb their sadness, their faults. We inevitably inherit these pieces from them, from our mothers, from the figures that move in and out of our lives. But those pieces get flailed around by the passage of time, until it becomes something entirely of our own, something that we then take with us into adulthood, into the creation of our own planet. And those little nuggets left behind by what and who came before us, now making their way through a whole new orbit of people, places, and things.